Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's go ahead and start the meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Bustos?
Here.
Henning? Here. Gorman?
Here.
McDowell?
Here.
Kelly?
Here.
York?
Here.
And Farmer.
Here. First item on the agenda tonight is the clerk's report.
Okay, you have before you the council meeting minutes of April 2nd, 2026.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion approved by Mr. Gorman, second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have no old business this evening. We have 4 resolutions to address. So, Clerk, if you'd read the first one, please.
Resolution R042630, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a full-service street lighting agreement with Miami Valley Lighting, LLC.
Move for approval.
Second.
Can I ask a quick question?
Is everything that this entails, is it all electric?
Yes. So it's all the street lighting that is electric, yes.
Okay. I just didn't know because when I tried to read it, I couldn't find anything that referred to solar or anything else.
Nope, it is, yep, all electric. There is a provision in there regarding LED lights for, when those get switched out.
Okay, thanks.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Who was the motion?
Henning?
Okay. All right, motion by Mr. Henning to approve with a second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution R042631, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Performance Site Development, LLC, to perform a sidewalk project known as MOT SR 48 20.61 sidewalk project, project ID number 119822.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, this is the project on 48 that starts there at Meyer and runs all the way down to Heathcliff. It includes some signalization. The project has been designed, it started about 3 years ago, and it will take effect this year, late in the summer. It'll start in August. That's the planned starting date. If they want to start earlier, Elena and I will talk about that, but that's the planned start date right now. It is all sidewalks, new curb, and everything else in that stretch, including storm sewer. Meyer location, there's a right in and right out only at that south entrance. We did give Meyer plenty of chances to add a signal to that location if they wanted to maybe smooth things over, and they elected to not do that. So unfortunately, it'll be a right, well, actually, fortunately for us, Paul deals with a whole lot of accidents at that location. So hopefully that'll clean some of this up. And
Can you repeat that one more time? Right in, right out.
right in, right out, only on the south entrance of
Here
Meyer.
where the urgent care.
Correct, and the
or
oil
staging
change
take
places.
place,
There's
yes.
been a lot of businesses added to that parking lot, and it's becoming more and more difficult to maneuver coming in and out of there. And, if you want to take your life in your own hands, turn left there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because it's difficult. And we had to do something with that, and that was the only answer we could come up with.
So then will we assist Myers with creating the signage for that? Because that is a big change for a lot of people.
Everything will be done in this project.
Okay, cool.
And
Move for approval.
Yep, the company, I'm sorry, Tim, the company was Performance Site Development, LLC, and they're out of Fairborn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Mr. Gorman with a second from Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Could have the next one, please.
Resolution R042632, a resolution authorizing the presiding officer of council to establish a temporary special committee to review residential zoning, to appoint the members of that committee, to define the committee's purpose and duties, to provide for its termination upon submission of a final report to council.
I have a question in regards to that. Have the council assignments, have that been determined yet?
No, this resolution essentially authorizes me to form the committee and appoint members. So I've got a rough draft of the what the committee will do, and I have a framework for who would be members. I think that was in the resolution in your book.
I have another question. My second question has to do with, I have been thinking about this since our last council meeting, and I had asked to be on that committee, and your response to me was that would
That I said it would imbalance.
You said, quote, you would imbalance things. So I want to know what that actually means.
Okay, I'm trying to remember when I said imbalance, because Missy was actually thinking of asking you to sit be on the committee, honestly. In terms of our council members, as much as I'd like all council members to be a member, my initial framework I looked at, because of what we were looking at, I felt strongly that the Ward 1 representative should be a member, because I think so much of this will affect Ward 1. Second was an at-large council member. So it'd be you or Tina or Dana. Dana, nothing against you, but you already are north of 40 like Leanne is. So I was going to defer to Leanne on that. Tina, we hadn't really talked.
I had submitted requests the same night, right next to Misty, and I had asked to be on it as well. But then that's the comment you made, so I was letting Misty make a comment on that.
Okay, well, I probably was, I'll be honest, I was speaking before I was thinking. I think, because I am limiting number of council members on the committee, so not everybody can be a member. But certainly, when we do meet, if you'd like to attend as part of the forum to hear and provide comment, I would welcome that. So I guess, Missy, this is your official invitation to be a part of the committee, if you would like.
Okay, I would accept.
All right. Okay, thank you. And I will be.
I would remind you haven't voted on accepting the committee yet.
All right, well, that's a foul on me right there. I got to get approval before I can appoint Misty, so.
I move to approve this committee.
Second.
I've got a motion to approve the committee by Mr. Henning with a second by Mr. York. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd just like to ask a question. Reading who's going to be on the committee, there's no professional involved in the committee. And, I mean, when you get into zoning and development, things like that, you need somewhat of a professional influence on the committee, and there's none there. And I don't know, I know that everything the committee comes up with must come through council. I understand all that, but, I mean, I don't, we have a Plan Clayton that was developed by professional people, and now we're sending, I mean, I have a little bit of experience from Savannah Hill Estates. My family and I developed 100 and some acres down there, but I'm a long way from a professional when it comes to zoning and building houses and everything else, but I don't understand why this committee is meeting with no professional help at all to be considered in it.
Well, if I could go ahead and answer that, I think the approach will be for this committee to come together to frame the problem and come up with the questions, and then to get to the answers, we will be leveraging professionals. We'll certainly start through the city manager and work with staff, and they may point us to more specific expertise. Does that help?
Well, it was done by professionals before, and that did not include the city manager or the city staff. It was an outside firm that did it, that does nothing but this type of work in their business agenda. And I don't know, okay, well, it's passed now, so that's enough.
I just would say, I think there was a lot of influence from former staff members when Plan Clayton was created, way more influence than what council would have input on a daily basis.
There was, but we had an outside source, and not to mention, we did have some staff too that put their input, like who we had before, not Colin, he wasn't here, but we had 2 other staff members. So,
Definitely had.
sure did.
In the duties, section 6, it does list out that we can request information and materials from planning department, law director, building department, zoning administrator, and other city staff. I thought that was, we were going to leverage them because I would agree with you, we aren't experts.
My understanding is that the original legislation included consultants, but that staff preferred to have that removed so that staff could control the budget about that issue. So that if a consultant is deemed needed by staff and council, that the appropriate budget will be followed on that.
That is correct, because how it was worded is that any outside vendor or expert could be used, and we wanted to not basically be choosing anyone from the outside and not following our process of having POs open or not, having our contract signed. And just the fear was that the committee may go and talk with any consultant without adhering to our finance guidelines, correct?
So it wasn't giving the committee the purse strings, it was retaining the purse strings with the staff and council, but it's always been contemplated that professionals would be used. Is that correct?
I think once the committee has arrived at their recommendations, we will need to leverage professionals to incorporate those changes into our planning documents. So
That's what council decides to do, accept the recommendations of the committee, then you'll have to get professionals to implement them.
correct.
Then that would include all council.
All of council would need to vote on the recommended changes on if they are incorporated or not. Good discussion. Any other questions?
And just so it's not an outside consultant, but if, and to Mr. Gorman's point, if you did want a regional expert like MVRPC to be represented at one of the meetings because of one of the discussions, that is something that could definitely, they couldn't, without being named on that committee, to come in to provide input if the committee so sees fit.
Yeah, and I would also say there's members on the Planning Commission and BZA that are professionals in some of these fields that we can leverage on the committee to come up with some of these things. So
That'll be one of the more challenging aspects for me, is that we have some really talented people on these committees. And what kind of wealth of expertise do we pull? May pick one person, but we're giving up something else that someone else has. So that's something I'm going to have to wrestle with. Don't expect to do it perfectly. I expect to get some grief one way or the other, but it will be informed, and I certainly want to share with council as I move along progress on what I'm thinking. I talk to some of you individually on individuals if you know them and see what you think. So this isn't just a purely unilateral, I'm plowing forward by myself. I certainly want to have all of council involved as part of this. It's part of my leadership style, which I get grief sometimes that maybe I'm too consensus oriented, but we'll make the decisions going forward. So I guess I do have to say the resolution passed. I want to get that in.
Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, I know it says it right here in our binder, but just a reminder for anybody that may be watching this, this is a temporary committee that shall cease to operate come 2027 at a date determined by this legislation. So it is just a temporary committee that will submit findings to the city, and then we can explore that. Plan Clayton is 8 years old at this point, and it is time that things do get updated a little bit in that document. So I thank you, and I thank you for doing this along with Elaine and Joyce, and look forward to seeing what the committee comes up with.
Thank you, Mr. Henning. You sort of stole my thunder. That was going to be my next point about, at some point, our planning documents do need a review and an update, and we're somewhat at that point. So, Clerk, if you'd read the last resolution, please.
Resolution R 04-2633, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management, LLC, for a new 2026 Ford 550 sign truck for use by the street department at a total cost of $241,415.
As council is aware, we have our own sign department here at Clayton, almost said ODOT, sorry. The purchase we made in 2016 was almost a 9-year-old vehicle, and it's in pretty poor condition. I think you could throw a dead chicken through it at any point. So we had this one on a couple years ago, and because of budget reasons, we had to take it off. So the city uses Enterprise and leases these vehicles, and this is just the one that's been on the budget for this year.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, I have a motion approved by Mr. Henning with a second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. This time we have our visitor comments, and as my policy, I will only read off if you indicate you'd like to speak. And right now on my list, all I have is Mr. Blanford.
Oh, there we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council, mayor. Jeremy Blanford, 10801 Haber Road. I was going to talk about one thing and got an answer from Kevin earlier, but in reading and listening, the committee that has yet to be put together for zoning, first question would be, I know there's going to be council members on there. Are there going to be resident input on this as well? And the reason I ask is because our zoning on Haber, our particular property, has changed twice, and we had no idea. We were agriculture when Ellen bought it. That got stripped. That actually cost us, and we never even knew it, because we had not only the horses, and that was the big selling point, was that was an agricultural zoned piece of property, so she could have the horses on it. And council at the time, she had to come and present to council to make sure that that's what it was. That changed at some point in time. Now it's changed yet again to what it is now, which I think we went RSD, but we're considered a state. So is there going to be resident input, especially if this is going to affect Ward 1? Is there going to be representatives from those various wards in on this committee as well? And then what is the purpose for the rezoning? Because it seems to me, I mean, I've lived in Clayton since 2019. But it seems like the zoning is always ever changing. And I can point to a number of people that their zoning changed. They had no idea, and it caused them issues. Emily's one of them. And I know you know about that on Fox Road. So that's my question.
To address your concerns, Mr. Blanford, yes, the way our resolution is structured, half of the committee will be resident representation. So we'll have 2 representatives from each ward. I empathize with you about the zoning change because I had another resident over on Putnam that was in your same shoes. And I think that is one of the motivators, at least for me personally, about this, because I don't know how notification went, and it sounds like it wasn't very good. And I don't know about the legalities of it. This may be an avenue where we can make some of those corrections without requiring multiple residents come in front of the BZA to request a change or a variance or whatever it would be. So that is on my mind. I appreciate you bringing that up. And I do hope this committee includes that in their agenda to address this issue. I don't have anyone else that's on the list. Anyone else would like to speak? Mr. Harmon, you usually like to say something, but sounds like you got nothing tonight, and that's fine. Missing out on my council treat.
It might be the first, I think.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and approach the podium. Just state your name and address.
Charles Harper, 7235 Pineland Trail. And my question is concerning the resolution for the sidewalk work, Myers. Why does Myers have a final say about the installation of a traffic light at that south entrance? It is a nightmare. And if we've had accidents there, and it's a public road going in and out of it, why can't we just install a traffic light there to control that flow of traffic? It'll slow it down. I live 10 minutes away, so it will affect me, but I'd rather have that because I don't even go to Myers because it's a nightmare getting in and out of the parking lot now. I just want to know, why do they have a say that affects the proposal going forward with that project?
So it is, if you don't mind, I can urge it, sorry, go ahead. So it is a private road coming out of Meyer. So therefore, Brandy, do you want to speak a little bit on this? So that does change the nature of it as well as the costs.
Yeah, the private drive is the driver of this whole thing because we when the complaints actually started was many, many years ago, and they talked about how difficult it was to get out of there. That was probably 3 businesses added there since that has happened. At that time, I took it to Mr. Singer in Inglewood and said, you know, we've got an issue there, we need to deal with it. And all he said was basically they just keep adding more stuff at that parking lot because they can do that. It's their property, Myers. So they just keep adding things and it just makes it more and more difficult. And then when I guess the car wash and all that stuff went over there, it really got difficult. When this project came up, I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity for them to rectify that. I took it to corporate because you don't deal with the locals. We took it to corporate, and I probably have upwards of 60 to 70 emails back and forth, and nobody would answer them except for, we'll look into it. It is a private property, so not only would they have to install the signal themselves and pay for it all, they also would have the maintenance of it forever because we would not maintain a signal on private property. No different than when ODOT does them. If it's a private property, they have to maintain the signal. I think ODOT has a little bit more teeth to force their hands to do those things on those because they do traffic studies and things like that that makes them do that. We didn't do a traffic study because it's not our property. So as those things went into Meyer, I don't know if there was traffic studies or not. That is not, I don't check into their records or anything. So those are the driving factors for ODOT when they do that on a state route, and this is a state route. We pleaded with ODOT. We tried to get grants. We tried to get all sorts of stuff. And it's private property, so it would be theirs to do.
And we did talk with, Brandy did try Meyer multiple times, and then basically it was turnover. And at the last minute, when we were getting ready to award this project, that's when they said, well, we need more time. And we can't, again, we are up against a deadline with ODOT, and if we want the $3.5 million from ODOT, we have to stick with our timeline.
Keeping in mind, it was a $3.2 million bid basically for that project. We got $3.5 million, so it's all paid by federal and state funds. So it's a blessing for us. However, we want to keep that money, so we got to meet those timelines. So.
And didn't you say, Randy, that you've taken care of that problem by making it right turn only is what you're...
That's exactly what it is, yes. Now, that was part of the heartburn with Meyer because guess what? The semis use. So as they're coming off 70, they now cannot come in there and turn left into that south entrance. They're going to have to come from a different direction or use the other entrance. And my guess is there's going to be a lot of deliveries in the evenings.
But that's the only thing that Clayton could do.
That was it. We had a suggestion by our other city manager just to block it completely off. We thought this was an easier answer, so.
Are we gonna put a wedge there in the middle of it?
Yeah, there'll be a pork chop in there.
Okay, cool.
I hope it's tall.
Yeah.
Because I think Paul and I have discussed that. I could see them going around that thing and then saying, nope, I'm gonna go left, so.
Well, and a lot of them have like the yellow barriers. if
Markers,
you will.
yeah.
Yeah, they have the yellow markers that stand 36.
They're not
feet.
designed on there yet, but I could see that happening.
Yeah, I would hope that those are added.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else change their mind, like to speak? Well, all right, with that, we'll just move on to our council and mayor comments. Oh, I'm sorry, forget the city manager.
I had no problem. I was just going to let it slide.
Oh, no, you get your time, city manager. Have at it.
Although we talked about the workshop, do want to bring it up that Sweep Clayton Clean is exactly 1 month from today on Saturday, May 16th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 200 Rory Lane. We will have the, if people have debris, tree debris or anything, we will have the chipper there as well as receptacles for them to put all their trash in. We do have a strict cutoff at 12, but if they do fill up before that, then we do close the program. So during our March 19th council meeting, we discussed the review or potentially holding a presentation for JED and reviewing its functions. I'd like to schedule that special presentation during the regularly scheduled meeting on Thursday, May 21st. So if you're all okay with that, we will just start off our meeting with that brief presentation. Beautiful, thank you. That's all I have for you this evening.
All right, thank you, Ms. Whitman. All right, now we can move on to council and mayor comments. Ms. Bustos, would you like to start us tonight?
Thank you. And thank everybody for coming out and your participation. It makes it really good for us that we hear what you guys are interested in and what you have concerns with both ways. I wanted to mention we have the Spring Fling coming up at Bushel and a Peck on the 1st and 2nd of May. Hopefully Haber will be a beautiful road that day, and everybody will be able to come up there. And one thing that's really exciting is Bella Sorella will also be there on Saturday from 11 to 1 making pizzas on site. So hopefully that will introduce them to maybe some people that normally don't come out and come to the restaurant. So I thought that was pretty cool. They'll also have carriage rides, so I'm looking forward to it. Bella Sorella has their issue on the ballot for May 5th. It is going to be number 5, issue number 5. You can only vote if you're in Ward 1C. So, I mean, that's still, a smaller group of people, but they're asking everybody to give them the opportunity to add wine to their menu. I think it'll be a great idea. They get lots of signatures when they want to put it on the ballot. So keep in mind when you go out on May 5th that they're number 5. And my last one just is I'm excited about Sweep Clean Dayton. It's my favorite event of the year. I don't think I've ever missed one, so I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henning.
I just wanted to also thank Daryl tonight, who Colin mentioned earlier is our code enforcement officer. If you could please let him know, Elaine, that, we appreciate him. It's a role where I'm sure he doesn't get a lot of appreciation from residents or flowers sent to him, but we really thank him for that work he does every time. I know I have neighbors that have sent inquiries into me, and when I pass them on, I know that he's always there immediately. So thank you and him for that. I was able to attend the opening at Buc-ee's for the Public Safety House with Chief. I was there for my official role, and part of that is the Shielding Our Protectors program that we have to help law enforcement officers get their name off of some public databases to protect them and their families. So I was honored to be there and help out. We had 300 literature pieces, and they were all gone. I would say probably 100 different departments from the Miami Valley were there. So Thank you, Chief, for joining that. I would have to add, the owners of Bella Sorella made a great point about all the publicity Buc-ee's did get, though. It is a multi-100 million+ operation, and they're nationwide. And it is the small businesses here in Clayton that don't always get the publicity near as much as what they got. So I thank Bella Sorella for making a beautiful post about why we need to continue to shop small and support our local businesses. We've mentioned some tonight. Obviously, we have Ray's, Boston Stoker, La Fiesta, so many awesome eateries here in our city. And people always say, well, we want a steakhouse, or we want this or that, or a seafood market. In Clayton, Ohio, we have entities that are thriving and citizens that are working at these restaurants. So we really need to make sure we don't focus on the things that are not here. We need to support them. And I thank the Bella Sorella Company for putting that up and the other local entities that shared it. I'd also encourage everybody to get out and vote yes on issue 5. If you live in Clayton, Ward 1C, it will only help their business that much more. And then finally, I just wanted to say tonight, Elaine, you're doing a tremendous job. You've done awesome with keeping us up to date and getting information before us. So thank you so much. I would say we as a council really appreciate all the work you've been doing since the beginning of the year especially, and thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Gorman.
Yeah, Kenny, in regard to what you're talking about, I have a good friend who happens to be the fire chief of Huber Heights. And he said if you want to go to Buc-ee's, he says go at 10:30 at night. And that's the only time it's safe there. So I think that Bella Sorella is closed by 10:30 at night. So let's keep it in Clayton. The other thing I'd like to do is to thank Colin and to thank the chief for the presentations in the workshop before the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gorman. Ms. McDowell.
Thank you for coming out tonight. Enjoy your spring activities. Reach out to council for any concerns. Stay connected with your neighbors to help keep our city safe. Just wanted to mention a little thing about bike safety. I did have a kid pass me off to the right, went across, I'm talking about Seville and Taywood, went across the street into oncoming traffic. And you know, Taywood is very busy. And all I could do was like, and so I'm just asking that you remind our young folks, our children, our neighbors about bike safety, because it's really important. Because this is the time and season that they run across the street or just jot out. So, and then the last thing is thank you and stay safe and well.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly.
Well, for once, I'm going to follow my dad's lead by stating that I have nothing to add because everything has already been said that I wanted to comment on. But I just wanted to mirror everyone's comments. I agree with them all. And Elaine, especially you, because I know you're still doing many jobs and you're trying to wean down to your city manager's role. However, I know you're doing more jobs than just that. But thank you so much for everything you've done. So true.
Getting ready to do a dissertation.
Well, all righty then, Mr. York.
Yeah, kind of to echo Councilwoman Kelly here, to echo everyone else, please go out. Also vote for Bella Sorella. My sister and my mom got a lot of those signatures on there, so it could be on the ballot. Thank you to staff, all staff, especially all the way down to maintenance. Right, they're going to start getting out there and mowing a whole lot here soon. So I just wanted to say thanks to all staff. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. York. Again, I just want to thank Colin and Chief for presenting tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to think through these things and explore other municipalities and bring us some ideas and thoughts that will make Clayton safer and better. I appreciate that. Do you want to encourage residents? There's an opening on the Planning Commission and the Parks Commission. Encourage residents to apply. I think the deadline that is April 27th.
Yes.
Even if you aren't selected, it means a lot to me to see residents apply. It means that to me that the city matters to you and you care and you want to make a contribution, and I do appreciate that, and it does make a difference. With having that resolution passed tonight to assemble the committee, I'll be doing that, and certainly as I go through that process, staff is going to be important to that. I just want to thank staff for all the work they do, the expertise and insight they bring to the table, and being able to leverage that, I'm sure is going to ensure the success of the output of this committee. And that was all I had for that. I hate to disappoint you, Mr. Gorman, but we do have need for an executive session this evening. And Law Director, what is the purpose?
For pending litigation.
Do we anticipate taking any action?
No action should be taken.
Would, for the ease of maybe council, would it be okay for us to just stay in here and ask the residents to?
So
I'll move into executive session per what the law director said about pending litigation.
Second.
I have a motion to move into executive session by Mr. Henning with a second by Ms. Kelly. If we could have a roll call, please.
Ms. Bustos? Yes. Kenny?
Yes.
Gorman? Yes. McDowell?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
And Farmer?
Yes. So we are in executive session.
If any students want your signatures, we can do that now.
We need a motion and, we don't have to do a roll call, just a motion and.
We had to wait on that one.
Yep. Motion to go back into regular session.
Go back.
Do we have a motion to return from executive session?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Mr. Gorman with a second by Mr. Henning. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we are out of executive session.
I move for adjournment.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Gorman, second by Mr. Henning. Any noes? Meeting adjourned.